1, 1,
2,
3,
4,
5.
Good evening. My name is Jonathan Basler, and this is my informative speech. According to the dictionary, a curse is the expression of a wish that misfortune, evil, or doom befall upon a person or group. Some of you may not believe in curses, but let me inform you about a curse that has been around for more than 100 years now. And according to the standings for the past couple of years, it looks like, though, the curse will continue for years to come. The Chicago Cubs was the team to beat during the early years of Major League Baseball. They even won the World Series back-to-back in 1907 and 1908. The Cubs were NL pennant winners in the years 1906, 1907, 1908, and 1910, which means that they had the best record in the whole National League combined, and then the drought began. In the fourth game of the 1945 World Series, the Chicago Cubs were hosting the Detroit Tigers. A man by the name of William Cyanis decided to buy box seat tickets for him and his billy goat named Murphy. After a short argument with the gatekeepers, William and Murphy were granted permission to go into the game. However, according to an unknown writer, Cubs owner Philip Knight had to kick out the goat in the middle of the game because of his animal odor. Cyanis was very upset with this decision and told members that he could not just let his goat go outside the stadium of the city of Chicago. So they told him to go too. That sent Cyanis in a fury. As he was walking out of Wrigley Field, he placed a curse on the Chicago Cubs that they would never win a National League pennant or even play in a World Series game again. The staff only laughed at him and sent Cyanis and Murphy on their way. That year, the Chicago Cubs ended up losing Game 4 and eventually the World Series. After the disappointing series, Williams sent the Chicago Cubs a program that read, "Who Smells Now?" After consecutive seasons with horrible records, the Cubs organization started getting scared of the curse, and in September of 1950, the Cubs owner P.K. Wrigley sent a letter of apology to Cyanis and begged him to reverse the hex. But Williams was yet ready to raise the curse, so it continued. Finally, on April 15, 1969, William Cyanis finally agreed to lift the curse, and the Chicago Cubs took first place in the division and remained there for the majority of the season. Then, on September 9, 1969, another spell hit the club. During the second game of the New York Mets series, a black cat ran onto the playing field and stared at the entire Chicago Cubs dugout, including all-star third baseman Ron Santo. Before finally being scurried under the stands, the Cubs lost the next two games in the division lead. The majority of the Cubs fans blame the September fold on the black cat bringing back the curse of the billy goat. Then more currently, in 1984, William Cyanis' nephew, Sam, attempted to bring a goat named Socrates into Wrigley Field. Nobody is sure why he is doing this, but he was rejected entry, thus the curse continued. This same year, the Cubs were 8.5 games ahead of their division, and the playoffs looked pretty secure. But the unlikely happened. The Cubs only managed to win 4 of their next 20 games, proving to fans that the curse of the billy goat was back. After another 10-year drought, the Chicago Cubs invited Sam Cyanis and his goat into Wrigley Field for the home opener. The Cubs ended up winning that game and their first Eastern Division title. That year, the Cubs started the playoffs with the San Diego Padres and got an early 2-game lead, but lost the next 3 straight at San Diego. Then in Game 5, which still haunts the Cubs fans today, a ground ball slipped through Leon Durham's legs, and of course, the Cubs blamed no one other than the billy goat for the postseason collapse. Inviting Sam and his goat apparently was not enough. On April 30th, 1994, the curse of the billy goat was brought up again after a 0-9 home game losing streak. According to the Chicago Tribune, manager Trebelhorn stated that the goat hex was to blame for the team's home losing streak. After the report, the Cubs lost 3 more games, extending their losing streak. Cub fans had enough. During May of the same season, the GOAT was called back to stop the record-setting losing streak. Sam Cyanis and his GOAT arrived at the Wrigley Field to end the Cubbies' 12-game home losing streak. The Cubs went on to beat the Reds that same game and the losing streak was over. However, the curse continued. The curse was bugging the Cubs so much they decided not to get rid of the curse, but tried to move it on to another team. In September 2003, according to WGN's John Williams, 3 Cub fans went to Houston Astros Minute Maid Park with the GOAT, trying to transfer the curse to the Astros. They were rejected entry and the Cubs took over first place in the Central Division. However, this did not end the Chicago Cubs curse. The year of 2003 was for sure the year the Chicago Cubs, so people thought. With only 5 outs left from winning their first National League pennant since 1945, the Cubs blew a 3-0 lead. The Florida Marlins scored 8 runs in the 8th inning. The catastrophe began after Cubs' most hated fan, Steve Bartman, unintentionally hit a foul ball with his hand as Moises Alou, the Cubs left fielder, went over to make the catch. The Cubs ended up losing this game in the next game, which ended the Cubs season. On April 5, 2004, Sports Illustrated declared that the Chicago Cubs would win the 2004 World Series. Trying to mock the Hex Gods, Sports Illustrated placed a picture of Cubs pitcher Kerry Wood and declared the Cubs would for sure win the series. The Cubs felt pressured from the news and knowing that they had not made it back-to-back postseasons since 1908, which, if you remember, 1908 was the last time the Cubs won the World Series. The end of the season was near, and with only 9 games left, the Cubs held a 2.5-game lead over the Astros for the wild card. The Cubs, however, lost 7 out of their next 9 games and finished 3rd place in the 2004 series. The curse of the Billy Goat continued. The next year, Harry Carey's restaurant in Chicago announced that they would be serving curse meals. The famous meal was a plate of spaghetti with a touch of the famous sauce, which included small pieces of the Bartman ball soaked in Budweiser beer, which is supposed to be the final curse ender, but the curse has still continued. In conclusion, after hearing all of this, you still may think that the Chicago Cubs curse is just a coincidence, and that they have made a streak of bad luck for many of years. However, not winning a World Series since 1908, yet coming very close several times, would be quite a coincidence. We'll continue to wait for the Chicago Cubs to make it to the World Series, and as most Cubs fans say, just wait till next year. My name is Jonathan Basler. Thank you.